And then they tied him to a big wheel and made him push that wheel around all day. See, what they would do is, to make flour, you would take your corn, your maize or whatever, put it on a rock, put a big stone wheel on it, and then push that wheel around in a circle, and it would grind that corn up into flour. It was something that was done either by women or by donkeys, by burros. And now Samson, big strong man, big hero, spends all day long walking in a circle, pushing a wheel over and over and over and over and over again. And he can't even see where he's going. And while he's doing it, the Philistines are hitting him and they're mocking him and making fun of him. For days, weeks, months, this went on. Samson being punished by the Philistines. But while he was doing this, what was happening? His hair was starting to grow out again. Well, we go now to a time when the Philistines were having a party at one of their temples. Big stone building with big pillars holding the roof up. And they were having fun, and they were getting drunk, and they were laughing and joking and singing. And one of them said, "Hey, let's bring Samson out here." So they did. They brought him out still in chains, and they started pushing him and laughing at him, throwing the drinks on him, spitting on him and beating him, and talking about how much greater their God was than the God of the Israelites. Their God gave Samson into their hands. After they were done beating on Samson, they went back to the drinking and party and left him alone. Samson said, he turned to the boy who had brought him out, who was helping him get around. Because remember, Samson couldn't see. His eyes were poked out. Brought him out. He said, "Boy, lead me over to the pillars that are holding the roof up." And the boy led Samson over to where the pillars were. And Samson, he put one hand on one pillar and one hand on the other pillar. And he did something that he probably had not done for years. He began to pray. He said, "God, I never asked you for anything, but I'm asking you for something now. I'm asking you one last time to give me my strength back so that I can have my revenge on the Philistines for what they did." And he pushed his hands onto the pillars and began to push. And he pushed. And he pushed, and he felt them begin to shake a little bit. And he pushed harder, and he felt them begin to crack. And he pushed harder, and felt them begin to break. And he cried out, "Let me die with the Philistines!" And pushed all the way out. And the pillars broke. And the giant stone roof on top of the temple came slamming down on top of the Philistines, killing all of them, killing the ones who had been up on top of the roof, and killing Samson. 3,000 people died in that temple crashing, which was more than Samson had killed in his entire life. Well, after it was all over, the Israelites came out. They dug throughout the mess, and they found Samson's body. There couldn't have been that much of it left to find. But they took him out, and they buried him. And the whole country cried for Samson. He may not have been a very good man, but he was still their judge. And now that he's gone, the Philistines are going to come back, and they're going to be trouble. But we'll talk about that some other time. So that's our story. It's gone a little bit longer than usual. But what can we learn from it? Well, here's what I say. I say we can learn that about what happens when parents don't tell their children no. From the time that he was very little, Samson's parents had told him that he was special. And because of that, Samson grew up thinking that he was the most special person in the world. And why wouldn't he? He was going to be a judge. God had said before he was even going to be born that he was going to be a judge. And God had given him great strength. Why wouldn't he be special? Well, did that special stuff, did that come from Samson? Was it because Samson was so wonderful? No, it was because it came from God. Samson's parents hadn't taught him very well about God. They hadn't taught him very well about what no means. They hadn't taught him how to behave. They almost certainly never spanked him. And so Samson grew up as a brat, and he acted like a brat because he thought he could do whatever he wanted to do. Guys, the rules that we have are there for a reason. Okay? They're there to keep us safe. The things that God tells us to do and our parents tell us to do and all that, they're not there because they're trying to be mean. They're there because they want what's best for us. It's important that we learn how these things now, especially you learn these things now while you're a kid, because they're very, very, very hard to learn when you're an adult. By the time you're an adult, by the time you're a grown-up, you already think you know everything. And it's hard to learn things then. We need to learn now, while we're young, to follow God's rules. And when our parents tell you no, when I tell you no, it's not because we don't love you. It's not because we're trying to hurt you. It's because we're trying to help you. When you get spanked by your parents, it's not because they hate you. It's because they're trying to get you to learn now. They're giving you a little bit of pain now to spare you a whole bunch of pain in the future. All right? So learn how to follow God now, because it's a whole lot harder to learn when you're an adult. Our verse for this week is about thoughtfulness. It's about treating other people the way that you want to be treated. Samson didn't learn this lesson. He treated everybody like they were only there to make him happy. He treated his parents that way. He treated his wife that way. He treated Delilah that way, and it got him in trouble. So we need to learn to behave in a way so we're thinking about other people, not just ourselves. Here's our verse, Matthew 7:12. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. It's a long verse this week. Let's go over it real quick. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. It's a lot of words, but it means it's pretty easy meaning. It means treat other people the way you want to be treated. If you don't want other people to lie to you, don't lie to other people. If you don't let other people to steal things from you, don't steal from other people. If you want other people to treat you nice, treat other people nice. If you want other people to treat you like a person, then you need to treat other people like a person. And the last part says, for this is the law and the prophets, which basically means that everything in the Bible about the way that we're supposed to behave can be found in that verse. There's a lot of words in the Bible, but if you want to negate the most important thing out of the Bible, it is, apart from getting saved and all that, it is, the way we're supposed to act is treat other people the way that we want to be treated. Okay? That's what Jesus said in this verse. That's what he's saying. That's one of the most important things in the Bible. So let's go over that again. Matthew 7:12. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Matthew 7:12. In Spanish, Mateo 7:10. Así que todas las cosas que queráis que los hombres hagan con vosotros, así también haced vosotros con ellos, porque esto es la ley y los profetas. Okay. Well, the time of the judges is almost over, and we're going to pick up tomorrow and see what changes for Israel. But we'll got to do that tomorrow. So for now, let's stop and go on to our math.